what might be better for them. Actually, we don't even need thoughts because we have it. They chose first pick, and leftovers will bring us to Volskaya Foundry.
I think they need to find a new sense of confidence in their ability to strategize during the draft. I think last game was the first time in the entire tournament where we've seen their strategy become something of an Acme Dynamite kit where it blows up in their face. Like you said, they wanted to go to that battleground, but Towers of Doom pretty much was a one-lane map that entire time because they have no wave clear to respond to having their tower team.
Volskaya, definitely a different situation here. We're going to see some skirmish-style comps built up. That's what we usually see. You know, nothing too macro-oriented on this map because the Protector is just so darn strong. Both these teams obviously going to build compositions where they can try to pick up items. The biggest thing for me is who gets that support camp in early game?
You know what's even bigger for me? Do they get Maiev again?
Yeah.
Because that was the first time Maiev was let through, and leftovers proved just why they have been successful with that hero, not only at this tournament, but through the entire phase. Blakitny has played a mean Maiev. What surprised me, though, was that how good the Tyrael play was. You know, there's just not very much Tyrael play going on in the Western region right now, and when a Sanct went down, a kill was to be had. Divine Shield or no?
And I think that was really just patient play from leftovers. There were a number of times where we could see Team Method kind of step forward and be on the offensive. It's like, all right, let's use the Divine Shield now. Cassie could go ahead and step in. And it was like, oh, here's the trump card to that. We have Sanctification. Now everybody on our team is invulnerable. And that response, I think we need to see more reactionary play, but aggressive when those moments happen in team fights for the leftovers.
Right, starting out this next game here, Phoenix again banned out, so Method not changing that one up at this point. We have to consider the fact that Sergeant Hammer is a very realistic pick on this map in particular. Of course, we're seeing that Medivh banned out as well. You know, we've talked about the Medivh and Maiev consistent ban rate so far in this tournament. But right now, Method are considering their next ban here. What do you guys think it's going to be?
Well, is this back to Maiev? Do they fear it as much here on Volskaya? You know, there's a lot of different picks. Tracer is also a concern. DAB was good with it, so they'll leave Maiev up. We'll see if leftovers end up getting it. You know, Method does have first pick, but to ban out DAB and that Tracer instead, you were talking about how good it feels to be targeted as long as you have other heroes that you could play.
I mean, it's due respect, but one thing that really is cracking me up right now, you look at the cameras, leftovers look so nonchalant up there. Mopsio's smiling there, just casually talking about the draft. Blank faces over on the side of Team Method. They were up 2-0 in this series going into game number 3, but those games could have easily gone over to leftovers. Have they tilted? Will they be able to stabilize and bounce back for game number 4?
And it's not even an act. When I saw him on the break, Mopsio came up to me and we were just joking, and he was having such a good time being down 2 games. Like, that's crazy to me. It's fantastic, the mentality coming out of this player when historically he's had some issues on that before. So it's absolutely wonderful seeing the change. Diablo and Deckard Cain locked in for the leftovers. The response, Garrosh and Yrel. So invading into this Garrosh can be pretty difficult. Probably going to see a turret camp trade for these teams.
Garrosh and Yrel also provide a lot of good presence over the control points, which have a long period of time. And now with having Phoenix already gone, that's one of the main ways that Arranged might be able to get a slow going over Garrosh so that he can't get into position. We'll see if, you know, there's not been very much Jaina. That's something that we've talked about before, but might be something there. Leftovers, though, they feel a need to ban out the Sergeant Hammer. There's just so much front line there that getting onto her might be very tricky for them, especially considering the fact that, you know, this Diablo has a Deckard Cain behind him. He has the roots and that kind of thing, but he may be diving on his own. We'll see what they want to add to that front line later on.
This draft so far is starting to give me echoes of Battlefield of Eternity, and it makes me a little worried for Mopsio in particular. Anytime they didn't get the engagement that they want, DAB smiles about that. More respect is given in the form of the Li Ming ban. But we saw Diablo get ping-ponged around so much on Battlefield of Eternity when they didn't get the engagement that they want. And those were in instances where they were overzealous, when they were eager and pulled the trigger too soon. These first 3 heroes for Method are big.
This has to be a Raynor over a Greymane, doesn't it? I believe just... You got the Jaina there. That also tells me that perhaps a Raynor could come in at the very end of the draft, Blaze, as the solo laner locked in to match that Yrel, and also just bunker one of the best heroics in the entire game. But yes, for that last pick of leftovers, it's got to be one of Greymane. Raynor, I believe, on the side of Method here. They do have their offlaner. They need their support considering the circumstances, and it being Volskaya Foundry. I see a Druid coming in here in Malfurion.
I love the pivot into the Blaze on the back end of the draft. It's going to help Diablo out. The bunker's going to be big. Stukov, though.
Wow.
He showed up. He was here all the time going over day 1. vanished over day 2. I love to see him back here.
Yeah, that's why I put the Malfurion over the Stukov, but of course, that single point of contest on this map, Genji instead. So they're looking to get onto that backline, perhaps because they waited to flex that range, looking to see if maybe there was a vulnerable backline target. You see that Junkrat, Genji likes killing rats.
With this,
We all do.
as it so
rats.
turns out.
Oh, poor Kala.
Again, I gotta point out that Leftovers, they're just up there casually chilling, looking at the camera there, and they're just like, oh, this is a high execution comp. We lose this game, we lose this series, not worried at all. They've played this entire tournament with zero pressure on their shoulders, and I think it's paying off for them here.
Woof. I look at Diablo, Deckard, Blaze, and Jaina to have a different setup, lock people down, and then Genji to just run around this. And I think the way that Leftovers played this through, they're going to be very happy with this, despite what seemed like a choke on DAB and what he could play. It was sort of a pivot after the Phoenix too. But Method get the Maiev. Maiev has been very crucial throughout this tournament. And then also do get a Garrosh. The Junkrat's the one big question for me, but should have some availability for disengage, hopefully for the team, as long as he's safe and not in it. Any final thoughts?
Just the Genji is the other point of pivot there for this matchup. You go in against a Garrosh, he gets the combination on you, a silence to follow up. You can't use any of your abilities to get out of this fight. That's going to be something that I'm going to be watching very carefully during this next game.
Well, you've heard our thoughts on the draft. Tetra Caldor, what do you think about this game 4?
Leftovers decided to try and keep the magic alive by channeling some Dalaran and bringing out the Jaina. It's squishy, but it does a lot of damage, and there's a lot of heroes that could engage onto her. I'm a little scared for that.
I just had a laugh when I saw the Tracer ban. It's like typical DAB. Every single time on online, Tracer gets banned out against him. Now he's trying it offline a little bit. Finally happy they can play her once or twice, and then immediately Method shuts him down. So like, yeah, we're done with that.
Yeah, and that's very reasonable. It's a situation of, okay, so maybe it won't be so bad. Maybe we can let him try it once. Mistake! As we are heading into game number 4.
And we have them to the left. Porty Boss, this time playing Blaze, DAB, not on Tracer. He finds himself on Jaina with Linked on Deckard, Kane back again on the old man. Will Kidney on Genji and Mopsio on Diablo. It is the Leftovers.
And looking to close out the series, it is Method with ADRD playing the Maiev, Curson on the Stukov. It is Bad Benny on Garrosh. Nick is bringing out the Junkrat, and Athera Angel is once again back on the Urel.
I'm pretty hyped for this right now. The entire series was just fantastic to watch and really entertaining. We had those core calls in game number 1, game number 2, very clutch, very close. With Leftovers, granted, overstepping a bit on Infernal Shrines towards the end, but they've really been cleaning up their act in game number 3, realizing that in the late game they can just take it a little bit easier, and it worked wonders on Towers of Doom, and it brought them back into the series. Now they find themselves on Volskaya, and we're going to find out if they can push it all the way towards game 5.
Lukini hovering around, chucks out a couple shurikens, dodges the groundbreaker with the greatest of ease. ADRD lands the tether as McKitney dashes past, but it's not enough to finish off a kill at this early stage.
We also have now with the composition here, Jaina of course in the mix, and she is actually a hero that a lot of people expected to see a bit more, but she of course has some downsides, and hit point pool and lack of mobility are 2 of them, and that's exactly what Aethero tried to exploit here. They're going for Benny as well. The Kidney himself needs to be very careful on the Ninja as he moves back out of the fight.
Genji, well, of course, is going to be the focus. It's like he has a global taunt all the time, but in this case was able to back out without too many difficulties. We see the fortification camps being taken by both teams in exact synchrony, as we are seeing no attempts so far onto the biotic emitter camp. We'll see which team decides to try and make that play first, and if they'll be able to secure it.
It's really one of those big questions, because if you are getting taken down while you're trying to take the camp and you also lose the biotic emitter, you find yourselves really far behind in the game, and oftentimes it will lead to you eventually losing Protector number 1, maybe even Protector number 2, and that can snowball against you. Well, Sky is a map that is very heavily dependent on the items that you can secure before an objective, and that's what both of these teams are now going to be looking for.
Sensibly, Method leave Bad Benny around this support camp as if they were about to take it, and Leftover scouted this, began to poke him down, but Method were sneakily grabbing their own siege camp in the top lane instead.
Blaze is already rotating up to the top, and this is looking more and more as if Deckard is already setting this up. They know that there will be eventually a fight over the emitter, and that's exactly what we're seeing. But Urel is still at the bottom of the map.
Mopsio sees this. He knows it's happening. There's a steel trap in a wonderful position. It looks like they are pretty willing to give this up, actually.
They have Genji on the left at the camp, and I don't think he would have been able to move there in time.
Yeah, and we're going to see them leave it. Safer move, much safer indeed, as it does mean they're going to be down a healing camp, and Method actually a little bit ahead in XP, but we're going to see Leftovers attempt to make the slow play. If they can poke enough to force out the healing camp, that's fantastic. They have a much better time. Cam Linked is in serious trouble. He's going to get taken. Wait, what? Wait, what? Okay, there we go. Thero comes in from below, just bats him into the team, and that's going to be first blood for Team Method.
Thero immediately get back in there, pushes him into the fight, and they take him down. But it was a great catch also by Garrosh. Bad Benny paying attention here, catches him, throws him into the silence of Stukov. And that's, of course, one of those terrifying combos that you have to watch out for. In this case, Link stepped out a little bit too fast, and they paid the price for it.
Such a shame for Team Method, though. They, sorry, for Team Leftovers, they had such a good plan. They were trying to use that camp in the top lane, timing it well. They knew the emitter would be used to try and make the fight last longer, which means they would get more pushing top. Losing a member means the fight could happen and the control could happen while they cleared up the camp. So the camp's now gone. So that counter push is already out of the question.
The Kidney is trying to apply pressure to Stukov in these fights now as he puts down the lurking arm and tries to create the silence zone. Mopsio really suffered quite a bit as he was initially the target of them. ADRD though far out as well. If they have a chance of locking him down, maybe with a jet propulsion, they could try and get a quick burst kill in there. But for now, Method is the team that reaches level 7 first and therefore has for a few more seconds the advantage in the team fight.
Avenging Wrath is charged up. Athera Angel jumps in, finds the Kidney. Those two will duel each other for a little bit, but remember, the Kidney is incredibly mobile and is able to back away. Two teams dueling for all they are worth right now, but a clutch pickup there on the Jaina. Once again, Method finding these individual kills with almost ease by the looks of it, as they're going to take down Mopsio. Throw Ben, is it off cooldown? No, it isn't. Mopsio is getting pulled back in by ADRD, but he's too tanky, too much health, and he might actually be able to get away with this.
He might be able to get away with it, but the problem is that Method looks very much like they are going to get away with grabbing the first Protector. And indeed, that's what's happening here. So we have 2 kills against 0 in Method's favor and the first objective under their control as well. It's a great start for them here. Started off with the Biotic Emitter that they were able to grab, and now they're transitioning to the top lane to prepare for objective number 2.
And with that Protector pushing in the top lane, that is going to be difficult for Leftovers to defend. In fact, so far, they've not set anyone to defend. Too busy cleaning up that mid lane, as that was pushing against them as well. They know that this Protector will get structures. They're happy to just wait down the duration a bit, let the towers deal with it, and they're not going to join in. Once again, Blakitney, good deflex actually, using the Protector minigun to burn that down a bit.
They haven't taken the fountain yet, but this is usually the goal that you are going for. Sometimes we've seen team push in a bit later with a quick 3-man rotation to make it happen, but it's certainly the leading experience that ends up in their hands. And the rotations are happening towards the bottom of the map. Eurelis on her way, we have Junkrat also on the same rotation, and Blaze is the one who's going to try and meet them here. But they hold on to at least the top lane fort.
We're seeing Ice Flows coming in for Jaina. That extra cone of cold whip and the cooldown reduction going to increase her damage output overall throughout the fight without limiting her to single target damage with that Q-based build.
Yeah, it's actually a bit of a surprise here. We still see most of the time Frostbolt prioritized a little bit more heavily, but the adjustment here on the side of DAB with his mage style. Now we have more camps taken. It's all about item control for the Nekken's face. The 10 is there now too, and that means that we can see more plays around Taunt with Garrosh in particular. But we also have Containment Disc now on the side of Maiev. So Leftovers needs to be careful, because if Maiev gets close enough, it can be a setup for another kill here.
So Containment Disc online, you have to start to wonder, is it worth the flailing swipe as opposed to the Massive Shove? Massive Shove has usually been the pickup this tournament, but the flailing swipe here, if you can time it with the end of the Containment Disc, you can get yourself a cheeky little isolation play. Question is that what they're going to go for, or are they too concerned about the safety of Stukov? They are indeed. They're going to stick with the Massive Shove. Double isolation is still pretty good.
Yeah, go for the shove here. And we have the level 10s for Leftovers. And now we are, again, with a pretty much normal place. The Ring of Frost is coming in now for them. They have the slows around the Lightning Breath here. Kill them with fire and kill them with ice. Little song of ice and fire that the Leftovers are currently trying to paint here.
And no dragons in this one, as we see the deck is Kane. trying to just stay as far back as possible. Link doesn't want to get himself caught out by this little Maiev combo of the Garrosh, as the rest of the team stays significantly more in front of him. Blaze has had a pretty decent time down in the bot lane, but he's lost vision of 2 members, pulling back to make it so he doesn't get caught out. And good reason, because Benny and Athero have shown up.
I mean, after the initial objective, there's not really too much that
Back it
happens
up,
in terms
Poti.
of aggression, but we're seeing these rotations still happening, and that's one against Boss that forces him to drop the bunker. They're moving away now that they've burned the cooldown, but there is still a bit of a chase potential that we're seeing with DAB and Blakitny coming in, but they won't be able to lock anyone down. Even a containment disc is being thrown out though, so Method is going for this.
They use the taunt, but Genji X strikes out. Stay a while and listen. Riptide comes in for the counter though, as it's back and forth all the way. The Ring of Frost with a great follow-up, and the Biotic Committer is dropped as Mopsio being focused down here. Good knocker with the Groundbreaker, and Mopsio is the one to fall.
They take him down, only one Biotic Emitter used. They still have so many items here, but what a great setup we just saw from the Stay a While Listen into the Ring of Frost. But even that did not help them to get a kill, and Method is looking stronger and stronger in the game. They have the 2 turrets, they still have a Biotic Emitter, and they are in a position where they can easily make the plays for the objective at the top, especially since they're only half a level away from level 13 talent.
That was less of a massive shove and more of a very minuscule shove here, as we see a nice knockback from Athero as the chase is still going on. A nice Indomitable from Benny. And ADRD with the containment disc allows Benny to escape.
But the red is at the top and is starting to take the objective. Yeah, good throw. Mopsio in so much trouble right now. He has no souls and he goes down. Great kill here by Method.
Diablo double death syndrome as he goes down for the second time without any of those souls. And that means he's down for another 16 seconds with the objective already being channeled by Junkrat. The rest of the leftovers, they remain grouped up. They're going to grab a turret so that once Diablo is back, they can at least try and make a play. But they're still going to be without their level 13s.
They haven't gotten a kill yet. They are 0-4 in kills. They're level behind, and it's all about that second protector now.
Look at that positioning by Nick on the picture-in-picture. If anyone was to come near him, he's got a route in front of him. He's incredibly hard to engage. He's got the concussion mine as an escape route. It's positioned so well.
The only reason he moved to the left is because he got an AFK warning.
It's also like due to the fact that he got vision, the fact where everyone was due to that camp being taken, so we knew he could get a couple of seconds of poke into the structure.
I heard Junkrat bot is pretty strong.
Junkrat bot, I have no idea. As we see the protector being picked up, Junkrat in the driver's seat, it is Stukov in the passenger seat, and for the second protector, this fort will, in the top lane, will certainly fall, as another Biotic Emitter is being stolen away by Method.
Method controls this game so well now. They control the items, they have the push. I mean, with them going for the camp, it at least allows leftovers to put some easy damage onto the protector itself and even hold on to the fort for a few more seconds. That's literally a hit point that we're seeing here right now. The problem still remains. Method is increasing their lead. They take control of the items, they push Urel down to the bot lane so they can soak a bit more experience. And for leftovers, it will be difficult. They're probably going to try and force a fight around level 13 talent, so now once the protector expires, because if not, they have to wait for level 16 to make any plays here.
That could be a huge deal. They're going to begin to move in Protector with 19 seconds left as Genji goes in very aggressively pre that Protector expiring as they're looking to try and make the play. But Kidney, though, very mobile, is able to try and make these dancing plays. Containment is already used very early on Diablo underneath his own fort here.
If anything, that saved him because Benny already got the stun and wanted to go for the throw here. So that was good for them. Mopsio is still alive, but he gets rooted into the ground with a virulent reaction. Here comes the Ring of Frost. They're trying to go for Stukov. He's nearly down, but Benny saves him.
A clutch taunt by Benny, and that is going to be Method in the retreat here. But leftovers, they really want to make a play. I love that engage from Mopsio, using a minion, looking for the overpower play. Lightning Breath, Stay a While, Listen, X-Strike, all these tools still available as they begin to dive back in. Mopsio with the full engage, Lightning Breath onto the backline, and Cursor is deleted by Blakitny, who's looking for Nick, diving into tower range, deflect for the kill, and X-Strike for the escape. He gets tossed in for the counter kill, and the fort takes down Blakitny.
Benny once again with a place here. They get Genji, but it's still a 2-for-1 trade in favor of leftovers.
They want more. Method want the turnaround. Oh, Mopsio. Reinforcements, friends are a good thing to have.
Yeah, it definitely is. But right now, it's against 16 that we're seeing for Method. It's so close. And leftovers got 2 kills. That was important. But with them losing Genji, they're still not able to really close this experience gap. At least they're only 1 level behind at this point. That's a gap you can close towards the next objective, especially since they still hold on to 3 turrets. It isn't too bad, to be honest. The biotic emitters were used or lost in the last fight on the Method side, so they still hold on to a couple of turrets here. But Leftovers isn't too far behind when it comes to item control.
But they are still behind in terms of XP, a full level behind to be precise, as they're trying to find XP wherever they can. They know bot lane's about to be pushed up. See 2 heroes heading down there. Mid lane, Genji can safely at least body soak that once it pushes up a little bit. He's going to be able to get the XP there. Blaze waiting for the mercenary camp, more XP there. It's all about catching up and getting that level 16 for Leftovers right now.
Yeah, they're easily going to get it, but it's definitely something that they have to use to win get a few more kills at least.
Or they're going to time it again. Very interesting. They're going to try and time it to get the extra push value, because once again, Method have pushed up with their camp very early. This means that even though they're not going to be able to defend it under towers, if they can time this with their minion wave, their push might gain more value and push while the objective is active.
So actually trying to go for an engage here, but it doesn't catch Yardi. Here comes the counter engage on the other hand. He dove in a little bit too deep, and Bad Benny is trying to punish him for it. They are forcing the fight now, but Blaze is not there yet. He's rotating in as we speak. Method is still looking for an opportunity here. Around containment disc, the taunt, and all the tools that Garrosh has to simply throw someone into that silence that we see coming from Stukov. Leftovers have to be careful, especially Mopsio. If he charges in too early, he is going to get punished for it.
Yeah, Mopsio very nearly got virulent reactions. It's only because he landed outside of the silence of Stukov that he was not rooted there. So as such, we're seeing Potiboss making the most of his time. He's going to pre-damage the opponent's mercenary camp. They found a Benny. They're going to look to try and burn him down. Great ice flows from Jada. Dominable is usually standing in all of the Jada damage. Riptire onto Genji, who times it incorrectly, and Benny is surviving this.
Benny's surviving for now because Potiboss wasn't there yet for the full engage, but they're trying to make it happen now. Both of the tanks are already low. So is DAB, and he gets jumped upon. Jaina is down, but Maiev pays with a life for the kill.
Benny's still low. He's barely surviving against the heal with the bio kill switch, though, as Athero goes deep looking for Bakidney, but is forced to back up. A 1-for-1 Maiev for Jada right now.
And again, they're looking for a potential follow-up, but problematic here still that Method simply taps the fountain and is looking to re-engage here. Benny survived throughout all of this. It was so close. If he falls, that would have been fantastic for the Leftovers and a potential turnaround. But this is still the front line that we're seeing for Leftovers. It is a strong one. Diablo Blaze supported by Deckard Kane as they're going in, but they're waiting for that damage dealer.
Mopsio, he's stuck on the conveyor belt. He's in trouble as Bakidney goes into the backside. It's going to buy Mopsio some time here, but he's caught in the virulent reaction. But Bakidney has all the freedom in the world. Good massive shove taunt onto Genji. They can kill him. This will be huge, but there's the deep lane. Good wall breaker though, and Bakidney backs up.
He backs up for now. We have the lightning breath again, and he's using it immediately. Potiboss missing the charge on the other hand. No stun, forced to drop the bunker here as we see Bad Benny again throwing him in deep underneath the fort. Jaina is back to business, but so is Maiev.
This is close, Cardo. This is back and forth as Benny moves back in to try and claim control. Fountains are up for both teams here. We are probably going to see Leftovers maybe park theirs a little bit. They would love to go back in here. They still have Stay One and Listen. They still have Ring of Frost, and they still have the X-Strike, but they've got to be afraid of that containment disc and that Riptire.
They're getting the camp now. They're getting the item. And then to the right side, we're seeing Method doing the exact same. Take a deep breath, re-engage, position yourself, and make sure that you get that engagement that you want. And Method didn't have enough time to get an item. They do not have that extra turret that we see now in the hands of Leftovers as they are engaging into the control point once again.
Potiboss with the suppressive fire, lowering the damage of Athero Angel with each of these Qs that he drops. He continues to be the front line as Mopsio is more looking for the wraparound engage here, but that steel trap just saved Athero from the stun.
The conveyor belts are such a huge problem for DAB here when he tries to positioning himself properly. They try to go in again. Benny, he slowly goes down. Garrosh is dead. The containment disc comes out. The Ring of Frost not hitting too much here. The counter kill attempt against Bakidney, and it works out for them. Again, the 1-for-1 trade.
It is the tank, though. The front line for Method is missing. And yeah, missing that Genji damage is the big deal, but you still have DAB. Right now, there's so much pressure on Athero's shoulders to frontline for his team. Look at this. Mopsio just wraps around, tries to skip Athero Angel to look for a target here. As DAB also runs very far forward. They want to listen onto the Yrel, but the turret wakes her up.
And they go for DAB again. Yrel the entire time looking for Jaina, and he finds the engage once more. Deckard at the start was able to save her, but this is the problem. Jaina's hit point pool not having the ice block yet, and she falls once more. Method is half a level away from level 20. They have Garrosh back in only 8 seconds, and they are looking to claim another protector to push with them.
79% to 50%. Genji's up in 7 seconds. It's feasible they could move in and delay, but it's so unlikely with level 20 just around the corner from Method. One death would be disastrous, as it would be a protector with 20 push. Instead, leftovers, they give it up. They move for the support camp and pick up a biotic emitter of their own.
This is going to hurt, though. They have a lot of forts still on the map, so this is definitely something that's going to help them to slow this down a little bit. But the problem is still that Jaina is just so volatile against the aggression that comes from Urel in particular. And of course, Maiev.
She has Ice Block now, though. She has her protection tool, so she's going to be able to try and protect herself at least a little bit. But right now, this protector is moving in. And it is a level 20 versus 19 push. 5 versus 5. Leftovers are going to have to put up the defense of their lives.
One mistake and leftovers are out of the tournament. If they make one mistake here and lose a hero or two, then not only the keep will fall, but also the core. Method is playing it slow. They're trying to look for that engage. Benny had fantastic plays on Garrosh and he's looking for it again. If he can find it against any of them, that will be a disaster for the leftovers. But so far the defense has been good, but here comes the taunt.
Huge damage. Genji X-Strike saves himself, though, and a quick attempt at the blow up, but Kidney is able to escape, and Adiardi with the amazing Vengeful Spirit escapes, but Poti, does he have Bunker? No, he doesn't. He used it earlier. He's on the run, trying to escape, buying team some time. Athero will give chase. When's the next dash? Poti, run!
He's
so dead.
There comes Urel. But they hold for now. They hold. They want... Method is not going to be able to end with this. They're trying to get at least the keep here, and so far it looks like they might be able to get that done, but we still have leftovers starting to get the experience towards level 20, and as long as they can stay in the game, as long as they can survive now, it's still okay.
Protector has expired. Containment is from over the wall. Cheeky play by ADRT. That would have been a disaster, but if they were able to dodge it, no one goes down.
And let's talk for a second also about Genji. Him surviving was actually crazy. He wanted to go for the kill against Maiev, and he nearly got it against ADRT. That was a fantastic finish here. Also, welcome to all our friends from Hearthstone that just joined us here on the stream. You guys are currently watching, potentially, the last game in this series between the leftovers and Method, as we had absolutely fantastic games between the two of them. And we can only hope that we're going to end up on a 5th map, because this series was a pleasure to watch so far.
Leftovers would love to agree with you, as they have just hit level 20 and Blaze has just respawned. All the tools are available. They're down a keep. They haven't taken a single fort yet, Kaldor, but they still a chance.
Look at these 20s though. You have Ice Blink. That alone is already worth so much for DAB now. Finally another survival tool. We see the same also with the Hellgate for Diablo. And let's not forget especially about the Endless Flash that we're seeing from Deckard Cain. Sieging up on those positions, trying to get the Protector right now, that's going to be a huge asset for leftovers in those late game fights.
They have those sustained tools, but also what we see is potentially the most important talent in this lineup. The living weapon coming in for Genji. These fights have been so grouped up, but leftovers have been very vulnerable to their own cooldowns. In this case, if they can get some good X-Strikes, then this could be a game-ending heroic.
Cannonballs the entire time coming in here also from a Junkrat, trying to make sure that he gets that poke damage in, and he's just continuing to do exactly that. Leftovers have to be careful, especially the backline. Bottom lane is pushing as we're seeing leftovers with the attempt to make the play for the biotic emitter.
Here comes ADRD. Vengeful Spirit's gonna let it return. No immediate dive. Urel also hovering from above. DAB has eyes on him.
It's a slow one. It's a slow fight here. Benny
It's a toss.
throws them back. Athero in the backline and immediately getting attacked here. Athero needs to be careful, and he already pops ult and moves out. Tries to go for it. Here comes the double stun. Nice save again. Benny with the place, but he himself, he falls.
Riptide for the counter. The Ring of Frost. Nice Seraphim from Athero. He backs up, but that kill on Garrosh is huge. Healing Pulse acquired by leftovers.
And Ardent Defender still in play. It was a little bit too soon to call that in the last fight, but yeah. It was pretty well done here by Benny, once again saving at least his ally, but he himself is now starting to struggle a little bit because that damage is so much better coordinated for leftovers. and now they are in the dominant position. They push out the bot lane, and they have the chance to go for the control point.
Blaze with the power of the Incinerator Gauntlets is going to clean up those catapults with the greatest of ease. This is keeping Leftovers in the game right now, being able to clean this up and rejoin the team for this Protector fight.
This series, game number 1, it looked like Leftovers could clutch it, but then they lose in the late game. Game number 2, the exact same scenario, the late game throw of the blue team, but game number 3 is where they turned it around. Now, in game number 4, Method ahead for so long, getting the lead in experience, getting the lead in structures, but at this point, 22 minutes into the game, Leftovers have taken the position on the potentially last objective in this game, depending on the next team fight.
Garrosh is back. He's on the way to his team right now, just passing mid-forward as the Kidney eats a grip from Athero. So much damage output. As look at Athero with that aggression to Sephiroth though to prevent himself getting in trouble from the AP. As Mopsio goes very deep. In comes the Umbral Bind as there's the silence onto Mopsio. He's getting taken down, but a lovely bunker there as Kidney picks up the first kill with the counter kill on the AP.
Jaina goes down, and we have another kill against Deckard Cain, but Zuko falls too. It's a 2-for-2 trade as they go in again. The disc of Maiev was dodged by him moving into the bunker earlier. That kept them in play. Now we see the turret on the ground, but it's a Spiral on Yrel who jumps in again. Yrel, the unkillable. The unkillable. What am I saying? She is dead. Goes down as Diablo goes in. They want to go for Benny. They want to clutch it out. They're going for Garrosh. The stun is in, and this is it. They win the team fight, and they are going to take the Protector.
89% is soon going to become 100 and Method. They still have all their forts live. Ardent Defender not used in that fight. ADRD able to get away there. Him dying in that stagger death would have been disastrous.
Here's the problem. They haven't even taken a fort yet.
Yeah, they gotta rush. They gotta push.
They're gonna need quite some time. I mean,
it's a 24-minute Protector.
With a 24-minute Protector, the fort is gone within seconds, but now they have to move through the wall. They have to go for the keep. How much can they get out of it? 2 are dead. Jaina just came back, and Deckard is now on the way. Can they go for it?
I did not know that worked on the Protector. But it's still going to be enough. There's 3 catapults. Deckard? Uh-oh.
Okay.
No one?
Not again.
No one?
Not again.
Whoa, what? They're rushing it. They're going to race the catapults. Protector is down at 38% health. The Kidney is trying to out-micro the silences here. X-Strike onto the core. They're burning it down. 40%, 20%, and Leftovers are taking us to a game number 5.
GG as Leftovers are clutching it, going for the core and forcing Method to the brink into their last game. They take them on and rush towards the other side of the map. A 24-minute Protector, like a beast, shutting down that core and keeping the hopes of the Leftovers alive.
They just did that without taking a single thought for the entire game. That one final fight, tank, solo laner, and assassin versus tank, solo laner, and assassin. And Mopsio comes up big with that huge engage.
That kill against Yrel there at the end without the Ardent Defender, blowing her up, that was so huge. It was just blow for blow the entire time. A kill traded for a kill, but in the most important fight of the game, the Leftovers keep their cool and carry it over the duration, take the Protector, and win the game.
Leftovers, what an insane performance. We're going to send you over to our analysts because I'm sure they have a lot to say. That was incredible.
Oh yes, Tetra, yes it was. Guys, have you ever played pinball before? You know when you like get a point when all of the balls go out at once? That's what that displacement was like. But you started out, Mopsio was all over the place with Garrosh, the containment disc taunt, which I did not realize was going to go through that. That was, it got to be frustrating. They were just all over the place in those fights, but it was amazing.
Amazing indeed. That was a game for Leftovers that tested their ability to play at the micro level. It's bad enough to worry about Garrosh, Maev's pool, but you have a literal and figurative minefield in terms of Junkrat, all that displacement, but they were able to handle their own. On top of that, Curson, his Stukov was playing out of his mind. He was hitting the Heisman Trophy pose with the massive shoves time and time again, but Leftovers, they show their resilience and they force out Game 5.
Leftovers, looking fantastic. Okay, first off, that last fight over the control point was absolutely massive. We got a replay to have a look at in just a second here, but seriously, the biggest thing is the fact that Leftovers, they play such a tight-knit game together. Look at the map right now. Mopsio is caught out at this point, but it's okay because there's one opportunity to really save him right here, and it's Potty Boss. If he can find a jet propulsion into this fight and see if he can save Mopsio, that's really his only way of getting out. And that's exactly what we see, because he does have his bunker available. We see Mopsio, he gets caught a little bit here, ADRD with a big play, and the silence to follow up, gets stunned up, but immediately Potty Boss jumping in here, and as well as the fact that Link tries to get in here to support his teammate in addition. But the bunker goes down, saves Mopsio for now. And the thing is, that means that Method, oh, that's the wrong one, Method overextend here in the fight and give an opportunity for DAB to push in right here and look for a combination. Off of this, DAB, while getting out of position himself, sets up a pretty big play for Blue Kidney right off the backside, securing a kill. The biggest part is the fact that Leftovers started this fight down in positioning, down in basically the engage, but because of the way that the Leftovers joined this team fight, it allowed for the Leftovers to basically turn this one in their favor, get the Protector, and secure the game.
Yeah, it almost just seemed like, you know, with how much displacement there was, Mopsio would kind of go in and see if he could get rid of some of those between the hammer of Urel and then things like Tether of that nature. If he could just survive all of that, then DAB like that. A lot of the rings were actually avoided by Method up to a certain point, but threading the needle like that and Blakitney for the follow-up was amazing synergy. And it went down to the 3v3, so it really did get down to the wire. But in the end, all that matters is that we have a Game 5. We're going to a break. When we come back, the epic conclusion to this elimination match. Stay tuned.